Welcome to the second episode of the International Oscillators Attack Release Hour. How you feeling tonight?
Feeling good. It's good to be back. Last episode was great. I'm happy to keep it going with a couple new artists today. Super excited to showcase the breadth of what IO International Oscillators is all about. So stoked to have them on the show today.
Yeah, I'm pumped. We got a couple of really interesting artists who really defy any sort of category. And what's really exciting about this episode for me is that we had set out in the first one, with this vision of listening to some international oscillator talent and sort of reacting to that and sharing our thoughts about it and showcasing great artists. But we had set out with this idea that maybe we could interview folks in the future. And when we had asked people to participate in that way, we got some great response. And so it looks like this episode is going to be a little different.
Yeah, for sure. Looking forward to the interview section. It's great. It's one thing to watch the music, but to have a chance to kind of ask some questions and learn more about their creative processes is a real pleasure.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's going to be an interesting night. Do you want to tell everybody the names of these artists that will be featured tonight?
Yeah, so we've got two artists tonight. The first one is Hissquiet. Hissquiet is based, I believe, in the East Coast and really works in an amazing kind of ambient format. I'm super, super excited to see what they've brought today. It's a whole package, both visually and great sounds as well. So they'll be up first. And then we also have Love and Bass, who will be joining us today. Love and Bass is an artist based out of Portland. I've actually had the privilege to play a couple live shows with them. So glad to have them on the show today. And Love and Bass is one of our newest members. So it's super excited to have him on the show and give him a platform.
Yeah, I believe when we had talked to him last time, you had said that you might have you played with him before? Like you played shows out with him?
I have, yeah, a couple. Past? Yeah, it's around town here in Portland.
Okay. I imagine that these days you're not doing a lot of concerts in Portland, Oregon. Unfortunately,
I haven't left my house in longer than I can remember. So,
that's rough.
Someday.
Sorry. Cool. Yeah. So, as you were saying, we have these two great artists, Love and Bass and Hissquiet. And like you said, Love and Bass is new. I'm sort of new to Love and Bass's style of music. On Instagram, I've checked him out and seen a couple of things here and there. He also I believe runs some sort of online blog, like a podcast style blog.
Yeah. So he's got a podcast as well as another project he's working on. I think he'll talk a bit about, and we'll for sure put those links down in the bottom as well.
Right. And I think, in our interview, I think we're going to ask him some questions about that a bit. Mm-hmm. With Hissquiet, we're sort of familiar with, right? I feel like we've gotten quite a bit of, amazing posts on social media accounts and an album that came out, I believe last year. They had put out an album that was just stunning to me. And I was like super excited that they agreed to not only provide us with some exclusive content for today's episode, but also to come on an interview with us, because I've wanted to pick Hissquiet's brain for a while now. I'm totally inspired by them.
Yeah, I am too. It's kind of a fun fact. We were part of Electronic Curiosity Collective before International Oscillators, mm-hmm. and Hissquiet, I believe, was the second piece of our collective's music that I bought. I mm-hmm. got their cassette tape.
Okay.
After the shelf black tape that I bought before that. So I've kind of been, I've had a chance to kind of been listening to them over the past, year and a half or so, and really great artist.
Yeah, I've always been, I listen and I watch some of their posts, and I always feel compelled to put down my phone and go into the sound lab and start moving some notes, because I just, it's a little humbling at times. I feel totally just blown away every time they put something out. So yeah, I'm so looking forward to watching this video and seeing what they provided us for the show. So yeah, with that, do you want to kick it and just start watching some Hissquiet video and see
let's kick it off.
All right, let's do that. Holy cow.
Wow.
Right?
So
was
the buildup was great too. I'm always impressed when you can put it all together for an ambient track like that and just kind of build on it over time until it's kind of like this crescendo at the end. I love the sort of icy kind of glacial feel at the beginning. And then when the guitar came in too, I wasn't expecting that either. That was
good. Yeah, just right off the bat, visually stunning. This atmospheric layered approach is just so nice and organic. I feel like that's a good indicator of a Hissquiet track. It's almost like a calling card that you get, this movement, and I don't know. I want to eat it up.
Yeah. You know what it reminds me of is later stage Coil. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That's one of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah.
But just that build up and the kind of iciness, but then there's also melody in there. There's a melody, there's some bass lines in there.
Yeah, the bass line gave it so much. That character came out right as soon as that bass line comes in. I'm like, oh, here we go. This is going to be interesting. Where are they going with this? And that did not disappoint. I feel like in the end too, the structure just starts to crumble and becomes this sort of disintegrating madness in a way. And that's just, I love it because anybody could do that, right? But to do it well and to make it sound the way that Hissquiet makes it sound, it just punctures the brain in a different way. And I'm always satisfied whenever I hear a Hissquiet track. And this time I think they brought their A game. So
yeah, I agree. And yeah, it's that build up, but then it's the resolve too, right? That's so hard to do, particularly with ambient music, is how do you resolve it? How do you close it out? But that kind of, crescendo and sort of unstructured, like it's, kind of just like dissipating in a way. Very well done.
Yeah, and usually when we see Hissquiet posts on social media, they always tend to be sort of, they have a ghostly and a dark feel to them, very atmospheric and both visually and musically. And I always feel like their approach gives me a sense that like they're discovering the music as they're playing it in a way, in a very hands-on way, not in a way that's like cerebral and programmed. But, I think they're working with an Electron. It looks like maybe a Digitac or
and maybe a pedal in there too.
Yeah, it looks like there's a mood pedal in there.
Yeah, I'm always amazed. The mastery that Hissquiet has of the Electron. I can't tell which one it is, but
yeah, I can't either. They look so similar that it's difficult to sort of pick them apart. But yeah, I noticed the mood pedal, and you can't go wrong with mood. And you can sort of tell where the mood comes in, like especially towards the end, they're manipulating almost the entire track in a way. And then it looks like there's another pedal in the chain there that we can't quite see, but always impressive. And what I remember from the thing that really got me was in their first album, they had a song that had a woodwind instrument in it. And I was just blown away when I heard it, because I thought to myself, is that a sample? And I remember DMing them and being like, Hissquiet, you got to tell me where did you get this? Did you have a friend record it? And they said, no, I did it myself. And I thought to myself, dang, it's such virtuosity.
The multi-instrumentalists are always very impressive.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Especially when they do it well and they don't just do it cheaply and like, oh, I know how to play the flute. Here it is. And but it just sounded really good. But wow, super impressive. Can't say enough about Hissquiet.
They brought it, like always, brought the A game. Amazing track. I'm super privileged that we can showcase it here.
Yeah, and of course, look in the links below for Hissquiet's definitely a link tree, definitely some Instagram action, maybe even some YouTube action, but you should check it out below and take a gander and go down. You're going to go down a rabbit hole of some pretty awesome musical endeavors in there. So
so next up we've got Love and Bass. So as I mentioned, Love and Bass based in Portland, and I'm excited because again, it's all about the diversity that we have in international oscillators. We had a really amazing ambient track, and now we're going to see something a bit different too than that.
Right.
Very well done as well. This track is called "Racism is a Basura." Aptly put for our times, for sure.
Absolutely, and I had to take a gander at at the old Google and find out what does the word basura mean. It looks like it's Spanish for garbage.
Yep.
And I couldn't agree more with Love and Bass that racism is garbage.
Exactly.
I'm 100% with you. Well, let's take a listen.
What is love? Love is not. What is love? Love is not.
So I was thinking about love. I was thinking about how difficult it is for us to find and to maintain the love that we all yearn for. And it kind of dawned on me that I think a big part of the problem is that we misdefine love.
Love is not.
I am grateful to have been loved and to be loved now and to be able to love, because that liberates. Love liberates. It doesn't just hold. That's ego. Love liberates.
What is love? What is love? What is love? Love is not what is love. Love is not.
So I was thinking about love. I was thinking about how difficult it is for us to find and to maintain the love that we all yearn for. And it kind of dawned on me that I think a big part of the problem is that we misdefine love.
Love is not.
I am grateful to have been loved and to be loved now and to be able to love because that liberates. Love liberates. It doesn't just problem is that we misdefine love.
Love is not.
I am grateful to have been loved and to be loved now and to be able to love because that liberates. Love liberates. It doesn't just hold. That's ego.
Oh yeah, super cool. How you feeling about that track?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm feeling that now more than ever. Love liberates. It just feels like these days that just, I don't know. It's like, it's so earnest and hopeful. And in the last year, I feel like 2021 better bring a lot of love because we need it so bad. So maybe Love and Bass is being prophetic or pondering love lost in the past and wanting it to come back. But either way, I'm feeling the groove and I'm feeling what he's yearning for.
I am too. I really like, again, it's, both of these artists, while different, have shown kind of a mastery of transitions, right?
Absolutely.
Where, really seamless set that kind of flowed between different, if not songs, different components of the song in a really interesting way. And so I think there was a lot of reserve and kind of a minimal kind of, beat going on, but really effective.
Yeah, I had to sort of like throw back to some, almost felt like a Detroit techno tape from the early 80s kind of thing.
Yeah.
With some flavor and some flair to it. And I don't know what he's sampling there. It sounds like in the beginning, there's some strings that he's sampling.
Those stood out to me. The strings they're sort of a metallic sound. And then the vocals themselves, I don't know if those are samples or if he did them, but I love the beginning. I mean, anything with a pitch vocal is going to get my attention.
Yeah,
it's almost
fun.
Sort of like a burial kind of feel at the beginning that kind of morphed into other things. But
yeah, I'm not sure if it sounds like it could be a sample that he took from somewhere else, but honestly, that could be his voice that he's sort of sampled himself and looped it around. Either way, it fits the song perfectly, fits the vibe. And it's an interesting sort of play off of, because I think the strings are sort of somber and a little solemn in a way, whereas like it feels like it's yearning and it's personal. And then you have this sort of almost, they match up and they complement one another in a way that I didn't expect from what seemingly is a techno song otherwise. I feel like I haven't heard a song like it in a long time.
Yeah, totally. It's like, and you're right, it's like minimal techno, but very kind of organic sounds, or the strings. I don't know where they came from. The metallic sound, the drums themselves, that rim shot. I love rim shots.
Right.
That very, very organic sounding too, which is great.
Yeah, and in the second half, there's almost like a woodwind sample coming through, and it sounds a little bit more worldly in a way, like it complements it in a different way. And the beat changes up, and I just wanted to move. Like I could hear this track being played at a dance hall, or even at like some sort of like smaller, like a backyard DJ set. And he's like, I got a little flavorful track for y'all. It's like. And I can't tell what he's playing. It looks like he could be spinning vinyl there, but you just see sort of a form of visually. You see him, and there's some, I guess it's like flames sort of shooting out from what he's working on, which is fun. It's totally cool.
I think it's fitting, and he might talk about it in the interview, but I've seen him play an Akai Fire before.
Oh, well, then that makes sense.
I don't know if that's what he's playing, but if so, then yeah, it makes sense.
Well, this track is fire. I'll say that.
For sure.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit also about the man himself. I feel like Love and Bass, he's not just a musical artist, but he's got, along with some cohorts, a podcast called The Highlight Show, where they talk about issues of the day and things like that.
Yeah, and I've had a chance to play a couple of my songs on that show too. So he's always super open to sharing music on that platform as well. So,
well, hit up the link for Love and Bass podcast. Maybe you send him something, he'll like what he hears. Who knows?
Yeah. And and he's very much a kind of a Renaissance man too, right? We heard some music. We know he's doing a podcast, but he also does some clothing and shoe design as well under the, I think, Circa 86 label.
Yep, that's right. Yep.
Again, he's got a lot going on, a lot of creative outlets.
I think Circa, he spells Circa Sirka, giving it his own little uniqueness on the style. But yeah, he's got, I guess it's sort of a shoe and clothing brand, with his own stamp, his own style. So check that out as well. We'll provide a link to his brand, his clothing line as well. Again, another episode of International Oscillator artists who take us on a journey in different paths, and there are sort of different chapters in the entirety of our book. And I'm always surprised at the versatility and the styles that the artists of International Oscillators produce. I'm always surprised and delighted. And again, tonight, we're going down an ambient path, a techno path, samples, guitar, the use of hardware, software. I'm always impressed by the roster of International Oscillator talent, and once again tonight we're getting a glimpse of what's out there.
They always bring it. Always, everything that our collective does is just so well done. It's we've got a lot of really amazing professionals in the music space, I think, and I'm always excited to hear what's next. And we got a taste of two amazing tracks today.
Are you like me? Are you excited for this pandemic to be over? Not just because, people's lives should be saved. Nobody should be dying anymore, obviously. But just the side effect of that happening and, people not getting sick is I can't wait to get some live performances again.
Well, I'll stay quarantined for as long as it takes. It's super important and kind of stay dedicated to that. But I miss live music. I had so many tickets for upcoming shows that are just postponed. They'll still be good, but I don't, who knows when that'll happen. But
I could see when I listen to this track by Love and Bass, I could just imagine this live. I can totally see it going down. And I had the pleasure of seeing a little bit of a live performance by Hissquiet right before the pandemic had started. And I think that was one of the first times Hissquiet was planning on playing out or had set out to perform under that moniker. And they were like super excited about doing it. And when they shared some of the video and audio of the event, I thought to myself, like, Hissquiet's got a future doing this. I'll tell you that. And again, it shut us all down and nobody could go out and perform anymore. Which is why we need more shows like this and other, live streaming concert performances until we can get over all this. But I would pay to see either of these artists perform live in a heartbeat.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I look forward to the day maybe we get to see some of our artists in person, see if we arrange something like that. But in the meantime, these kind of shows, I mean, it's cool, the sort of organic networks that are popping up to give a platform of some sort, at least for artists. Definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming up next, stay tuned. We're about to embark on a little interview, a little Zoom interview, socially distant, with both of these artists that you listened to tonight. And tonight they've given us the privilege of spending a little bit of time with them, so we could do just that. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to pick their brains.
All right, so let's get into it, shall we?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Awesome. Welcome to the interview section of our show, the second episode of our International Oscillators Attack Release show. Tonight, we have here Love and Bass and Hissquiet. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're really excited to have you both on the show.
Yeah.
And maybe you can start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, like, your artist name, where you're from, and, what kind of music you make.
So, my artist name is Love and Bass. I'm originally from New York, but now I'm actually in Portland. The type of music I make, it's electronic, dancey, kind of upbeat. Use a lot of different sounds, a lot of different instruments. I think that's really it. That's how I would describe it, yeah.
Yeah, and so Love and Bass and I are in the same city, and we've actually had the opportunity to play a couple shows together back when that was a thing.
Yeah.
Which seems like a million years ago, but
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. And what about you, Hissquiet?
My name is Ash, and go by Hissquiet. And I kind of do like ambient noise, like, I don't know, just kind of all over the place and as far as genres go. And I'm from the East Coast. I grew up in Connecticut, actually, and been all over the place, California, Indiana, and I've been in New Hampshire again for like 8 years. It's pretty nice here.
Yeah, so welcome to you all. Do you want to start us off, Cat Breath? We're going to ask a round of questions and get to know you guys a little bit more. And
yeah, for sure. I'll jump in. Before I say that, I said this in the last hour, but I want to repeat it. We've got such an amazing range of artists and international oscillators, right? I mean, we're talking about kind of ambient and then more upbeat dance music. We've got sort of the industrial corner covered, I think, pretty well. So it's always exciting to see all the breadth of genres that we're covering. I guess I'll start love and bass. You know, I'll start with a question of just generally what inspires you to do music.
I would say I've been inspired by a couple of artists, Jamie XX, Disclosure, Phono, Subtract, guys like that, Travis Scott, Kanye West, kind of artists like that, and kind of listening to that type of music. I would say I probably listen to like mostly hip hop, but when I go to like produce and things like that, it comes out as electronic music and house music, and that's just what feels more natural to me. I don't really need much to be inspired, like me sitting down and like messing with different like programs and using different modular equipment. I kind of get lost in that, and then within that, I start to come up with ideas and kind of go from there.
Do you find yourself starting like when I start with music, I'll start with like a beat and then try to find a bass line and kind of fill in that way. How do you find yourself starting to build out a track?
I think it varies, but as of lately, I've been really starting out with melodies and sort of working the melodies out first, and then going to the drums, and then working my way back to like secondary melodies, and then some vocals and things like that, some vocal samples and things like that. But as of lately, definitely melodies I've been using first, starting out with.
so what about you, Hissquiet? What gets you going? Get you in the mood to make some music?
It can really like come from anywhere. I'm kind of inspired by this community that I've found, you know, be it the international oscillators or like the wider music community. It's just like really amazing that there's so much talent out there, and kind of just inspired every single day by folks on there. Like maybe getting like a new piece of gear will be inspiring. Like I got today got in the mail, it's called a duduk, and it's a double reeded woodwind instrument.
Oh, wow.
And
Please tell us more about that. I want to hear about this.
Yeah. So like I used to play the clarinet, so that was a one reeded instrument. This is double reeded, and it's very difficult to play, like more difficult than I thought it was going to be. But I'm pretty excited to like learn it and like use it, sample it, or, you know, put it through some pedals and see what comes out the other end.
I'm excited to hear some recordings of that once you do it. I love putting like more traditional or acoustic instruments through a whole pedal line. I always love how that sounds.
Yeah, it brings like a kind of like a human element to it, I feel. Like, you know, the way that, you know, turning knobs will do.
Totally. And I got to say, as a first seat clarinetist from high school, I got much love for the clarinet and the clarinet background. And I've, you know, in your past recordings, you've worked with saxophone or bass saxophone. Is that right?
Bass clarinet, actually.
Oh, bass clarinet. Okay. Yep. That's right. Yeah. It really added like this moody sort of feel to the songs and on one of your albums.
Yeah.
And I felt sort of like, I don't know, it added a dark undertone to it all that it felt brooding. Cool. And to me, I'm like, oh man, I'm getting some woodwind action in there. It's like, wow, it's so fun. So speaking of instruments and gear and things like that, why don't you tell us a little bit about like what gear, either software or hardware? Maybe you can start us off, Love and Bass, and talk a little bit about like what your favorite gear is, or something that really essential to your setup that you can't do without.
I think I really mesh both of like the digital DAW systems with the modular kind of stuff. But I would say I probably can't live without like most of my Korg stuff, like anything Volca, my Electrod too. Like those are like what I definitely started with. So I'll start off with some of those sounds, or like old samples of sounds I've used, or beats or drum patterns, and I'll transfer them over like into FL Studios, and then I'll mess around with them. And then from there, I'll put it into my Kai Force, because that's what I use to like perform when I'm out, because I like to be very simple, like one kind of piece of equipment. But I also like to bring along everything that I have from like my home studio, so that allows me to do that with that. So yeah, and then once I get into a Kai Force, then I'll even mess around with it even more. So it's completely different than what I started out with initially. And yep, that's usually how I go about things.
I remember, I think the last time we played, you had the Force with you, and I've got like, yeah, I love the just kind of streamlined setup. I'm super interested in taking the plunge in and getting one of those at some point too. So it's cool to see them in the wild.
Yeah, love it.
So I feel like with gear, it's like, sometimes you had said earlier that when you get something new in, that's the thing. I got to try this out. It becomes a thing that you don't do without for the next 20 sessions. It's like, I got to explore every element of this. I feel like I've seen you do that as well, Hissquiet. Whenever you put something, when you get a new instrument or a new pedal or something, you're featuring it in several posts over the next week or even weeks as you're exploring it. Is there any that stand out to you? Any pedals or instruments that are sort of central to what you do?
Right now I'm really enjoying my Electron boxes, the Digitact and the Digatone. I'm trying my best and kind of failing to not get any more gear because those boxes are kind of, they're deep machines to learn, and I'm always, exploring and learning something new with it. And I love the Chase Bliss mood. I like to put that on anything.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, it's great.
I kind of miss my mood.
Oh, no.
I sold it to fund a Morphogene, so I was like, I'll sort of do similar things with it,
Yeah.
But still, I mean, you can't go wrong with a Chase Bliss mood. It's beautiful.
I love that you kind of hit on that. Like the electrons are so deep, and I've got gear acquisition syndrome pretty bad, particularly with modules, and it's so easy to like just scratch the surface and be like, okay, I'm ready to move on to the next thing. But there's something to like really taking your time to learn an instrument inside out. I kind of find like I'll like go back to things after a while and discover something new, and that kind of helps put a damper on my need to get something else. But yeah, it's a constant struggle.
Yeah, y'all modular folks. I want to go down that rabbit hole, but not yet.
Oh, I can't wait. Oh, yeah. I cannot wait. I can't wait. Oh my goodness. I can just see you doing some wild stuff. It's some really wild stuff.
We're talking about music here, and I think that's one of our major outlets, but are there any other art forms that either of you are into or would, or anything that you'd want to get into as we're all kind of stuck at home with quarantine?
Yeah, I mean, I think when quarantine kind of started, I got really heavy into producing, but then it was like, I need something else as well. So I started drawing designs of like sneakers and clothes and like that. And then it progressed really quickly into like producing the stuff. So I've been doing that probably since quarantine has hit, just really getting a lot of samples, and just here and there when I'm just kind of sitting down, I'll just kind of create a shoe, create a shirt, create some jeans and things like that, and kind of go with it as well. Yeah. And
I've actually been watching you do that. Is your design handle circa 86? Is that what it is? So yeah, it's been fun to watch you get into that too.
What's your medium?
I mean, it's clothing. It's clothing and sneakers.
Okay.
and I use kind of like a digital interface to kind of create a lot of my stuff.
I was saying we were having a conversation before we got on to our interview section, and you're sort of like a Renaissance man. You're like all over the place, jumping into different. You got your hands in all these different pots, and I mean that's just really inspiring to me. That I really wish that I could connect those dots. I mean, I have different sort of endeavors that I want to get into, but you go with it, man. Like when I go into, like, I check out you got podcasts going on, you got clothing wear. I'm just like, this guy's all over the place, but he's like, he wants to put something out, he just goes and does it. And that's just so exciting to me.
Yeah. The thing with the podcasting, it's like 5 of my friends, and we've been trying to come up with something we could do together for a while now. And that became the medium. So we kind of come on, we talk about whatever is kind of current with the news. And we also do music as well. So that's just me and another one of the co-hosts just picking music and picking things that we sort of like, or I'll play stuff of other artists I like, and we have full range of that kind of thing. So it's kind of full circle where I kind of just get to present my music aspect too. So.
What's the name of your podcast?
The Highlight Show by the High and Low Lives. So it's on Shady Pines Radio. 8 a.m. to 10 on Thursdays. There's an app, and you can look it up and you'll find it. And we're also on all the major kind of platforms as well, like Apple and Spotify and things like that too. So if you missed the show when it comes on live.
And we'll put a link in the description of our YouTube channel. So when we put out our episode, folks, if you're watching this and you really want to connect the dots a little bit more and dig into some of the links with these artists, just look below the video, and we'll put together link trees or social media, whatever you guys got going on. We'll make sure to connect everybody and let them see the breadth of your work.
What about you, Hissquiet? Any other art forms that you found yourself working in recently?
Yeah, I'm actually a freelance graphic designer and web developer, and that's my day job currently. So I'm kind of always doing like logo design, like illustration, commissions for artwork. And recently I kind of got into doing 3D rendering art.
Mm-hmm.
So like CGI and like stuff like that. Just kind of experimenting. There's a lot to learn there. But I'm having fun doing like more abstract stuff with it because I don't really have to really know what I'm doing yet.
I saw that you were working with Blender, right? So Blender is like
Blender.
And I downloaded it one day and I was like, man, this just seems so overwhelming. So many things you could. Some things are so powerful of a tool that it just feels impossible to me. But more power to you all. Anybody who gets into it and then produces something, and I have yet to see something that doesn't look cool coming out of that program. Pretty
Absolutely, neat. And it's open source, so I felt pretty good about not putting any money into it.
Hey,
good.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about when you were both young. Was there an inspiration from listening to music that you liked, or maybe somebody in your family was a musician, or what really got you started at a young age that made you feel, you wanted to explore as an artist or learn how to play a musical instrument of some sort? Take us back.
Yeah. Okay. So like from very young, like going to church, like being in choirs and hearing people sing,
okay.
And also playing an instrument all the way up through school, playing the tenor sax. Kind of gave me, I guess, classical training, if you will, to be able to understand some of like measures and stuff like that. Being in rap groups when I was like in high school and trying to learn how to DJ early on didn't really stick. It didn't stick early on. I didn't start DJing until much, much later, and getting into production. But I think I've just always been a person who's just listened to like tons and tons of music. And I think when it came time to like, when I found out about producing and DJing, it's just it lent itself to that very easily for me. And I was able to pick up modular gear like pretty easy. And I didn't think anything of it till asking my friends, and they're like, no, that's not normal. You shouldn't be able to pick up things that quickly as musically. I'm like, okay. And, so watching some of those guys I kind of talked about in the beginning, and just kind of want to be like that. Like I want to be able to play music like that people enjoy, and be in front of crowds and have people enjoy what I'm playing. And yeah, I think it kind of it started from there. Definitely probably playing instruments early on.
What about you, Hiss? Did you come out of the wound and you were just like...
I mean, fourth grade, that's when I started music, with the recorder. Moved on to the clarinet. Don't diss the recorder, because the Mandalorian theme song is a bass recorder. So, and yeah, did clarinet, bass clarinet, and marching band. I kind of like stopped for 10 years. And like there was like this little voice in my head a few years ago that was telling me that I kind of needed to start making music again. But I was like, I have too many hobbies as it is. Like I should be focusing more on those. But like I found people like Heinbach and Amulets on YouTube. And I was just like super enthralled by what they were doing. I just kind of like, for the rest of the day, I watched like videos of Eurorack and modular folks. And I think like the very next day, I got Ableton and a Novation launch key.
Oh, okay.
Just kind of
stepped up your game quick. You jumped right into it then.
Yeah. I was like, that's it. Yep.
That's great.
I love just jumping into stuff. And Heinbach, I mean, gotta love him. He's got such a good influence. I think I saw one of his episodes recently, and he had discovered this obscure Japanese, like almost like a koto synthesizer. And then as soon as I saw his video, it's like everyone wants one of those now, and it's just cool. It's cool.
He has that effect.
Yeah, including me.
He'll get an instrument and just be like, look what I can do with this. And so many people are like, I have to find this. Yeah. Suddenly the value of this instrument goes up 1,000% on eBay. Mm-hmm. And it's impossible to get. You too can use a microcassette at a quarter speed. It's the best speed. I do a terrible impersonation. Let me stop. Well, thank you guys. It was really amazing to get to know you all a little bit more. This is really fun.
Absolutely.
And we're excited to share your music as well in our episode. And, like I said before, if you guys that are listening have taken the time to get this far into the episode, hopefully you've listened to some of the tunes and check out the links below to sign into Linktree or social media platforms for both of these artists, as well as International Oscillators. And we're really thankful that you're both involved in the collective as well. It's really fun. Great to have you on.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me.
Any parting words, Cat Breath?
No, just I think you've said it. I mean, thanks for joining us. I love that you're, the work that you're doing. I love that you're a part of our collective, and we're able to take some time on the show today. So thank you both. And for sure, listeners, check for the links below. Check out both these artists. Check out International Oscillators Instagram, and keep an eye on what we're doing.
Cool. All right. What a fascinating look into the brains of two incredible artists that really surprised me tonight. How are you feeling about the future here? Do you feel like the Attack Release Hour has more to bring?
I think the future is bright. Yeah, I'm looking forward to episode 3 already. We'll have to figure out who's going to be invited next. But yeah, these episodes have been great. Definitely want to give a shout out and another thanks to Love and Bass and Hissquiet for joining our show with some exclusive content and for talking to us too, it was great. Yeah, absolutely. I feel absolutely privileged to have listened into some new stuff. And to sit down with these sort of inspiring artists that it's very rare to get a chance to get this personal with people, especially people that inspire me, and it feels good to spend some time with them. I don't know. Take a look in these links below the video. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so we get in the future you can get some heads up, some notifications of when our next stream comes out. And
guess we hope everybody has a safe and lovely holiday.
Yep.
Don't get coronavirus, people. We love you.
No. No. And stay tuned for our
Absolutely.
next episode, which is coming soon in the new year.
And what did we say last time? Keep on oscillating. What was that corny thing that we said? The corny thing that I said?
I think that sounds good. Let's go with that.
Keep on oscillating. All right. Have a good night, everyone.